Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. As you can see, that I am still wearing the same clothes as I was in the previous podcast because we try to record two podcasts at once. So
Yes.
I'm just letting you know that so you don't think I'm a stinky hobo.
Yeah. Yeah. This is like 20 minutes after the last podcast. So it's, yeah, I don't think we're stinky. We ain't stinky boys.
Yeah, I took a shower last night.
I did not, but I took one the previous night.
I think it's weird that there's a large amount of people that solely believe that you should shower every single day.
Yeah.
Which you should if you're stinking it up and you're sweating a lot. Then yeah. But like, the reason why some people struggle with like, I'm assuming baldness or severe dandruff or dry skin is because you're showering too much.
Yeah.
Your body needs oils to like keep itself from falling apart.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
So like if I'm going out somewhere, I take a shower.
Yeah.
Every time. It doesn't matter if it's like I took a shower last night and it's only like 4. I'm going out, I'm going to take a shower because I was working earlier.
Yeah.
You know? And so there are some weeks where I'll take 2 showers a day. But I ain't always using soap.
Yeah, you're
like
just
everywhere.
Like
I
just trying to rinse
get your
off,
pits,
basically.
Get where you sweat a lot, get where the stank is, wash off any dirt or whatever, and then you're good. Like, don't overdo it because you're just gonna dry out your skin like crazy.
Yep.
And especially your hair. Women know it. They don't wash their hair every time they shower.
Well, the ones that have realized that their dandruff problem is coming from the fact that they're stripping their scalp of the oils that is needed to have a healthy scalp.
Yeah. But for some reason, men are like, well, when you take a shower, you do all the things. And it's like, no.
It depends. Like, if you're disgusting, yeah. But if you're, like, rinsing off, then you may use soap here and there, but you shouldn't wash your hair. Like, if you wash your hair and body in the morning, and then later, after you're doing some work, you get home, you're a little dirty. So what you should do is you should skip the shampoo because that's not necessary. So you rinse off your hair, and then you could use soap on your body so long as it's like you're not like, I don't know, use discretion. Like use this
discretion.
Yeah. Turns out I've seen a video of someone saying, you know what, you actually shouldn't be using soap at all on your body, and I was like, what? And as I thought about watching the rest of the video, but I was like, hold on, I'm not ready for this revelation.
Well, it's like
I don't believe him. First of all,
I've stopped using bar soap. I was using bar soap for a lot because I heard bar soap is good. And let me clarify. I was not using like some nice Dr. Squatch or whatever. Like I was using like
Irish Spring.
Yeah, Irish Spring bar soap. It was not great. That crap was terrible. It gave me horrible acne.
Yeah.
All over my body. And turns out did not get you very clean.
No, it doesn't.
And so I stopped using that. I switched to some Old Spice body wash with some shea butter in it, so I get nice and moisturized, and I have been doing a lot better since. So there's just a lot of problems with bar soap, cheap bar soap, and all that stuff.
Well, soaps used to be made out of more natural products. Like I think it was like World War II is what really messed up manufacturing in America to where now a lot of our things are made using chemicals and whatnot, which people are like, well, that's not really a problem. It's designed for that. It's like, well, here's the problem. Yes, it gets you clean, but it's also very harsh on your skin, which is what's leading to you having a dandruff issue, or you have eczema, or whatever other issue you're having, even acne.
Yeah.
It's because the chemicals that they're using in their products is too harsh for your skin. Sure, you're not like, you may not be in physical pain, but your skin is like irritated enough to where it's causing problems.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't even remember how we got on the subject at all.
We're not stinky boys.
We're not stinky boys. We're not stinky boys. I wanted to talk about something.
What's that?
Some video games.
Okay. Is it Helldivers? Because apparently Helldivers is really big, and I have not touched it.
I want Helldivers. I think I'm gonna get it soon because it's only like $40.
You say that as if that's not a lot of money. Like,
well,
it's
comparatively,
not, compared to games nowadays that are like
$70. The standard is now $70.
It used to be 60.
It used to be 60.
I remember when it was 20.
Yeah, back in the day, you get your Wii game for $20.
Your PlayStation 2 game, $20.
Yeah. And it made it all the way up to 60. Now it's 70. Apparently, it was common for video games to be like $80 in the 80s.
Whoa.
Like N64 game, like big N64 games could be as much as like $80.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Now, the console itself was usually like $250 or like $150. So the console wasn't very expensive, but they were making it up with the games for sure.
I remember even when I got I don't remember. I don't remember how much I spent on my PlayStation 4.
300.
Is it?
I almost guarantee you it's 300.
Okay.
Or somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah, I was going to say 300, but my brain was also saying, nah, you probably spent more than that. And it's like, I hope I didn't.
Well, I think you got a few games as well. So you probably ended up spending more than
I probably spent $400 on getting the console, spare remote, and 2 games.
Yeah, it's probably.
And it
like
also
that.
just came with the game because it was like,
I think it was Battlefield 1 came out that year, right? No,
it
Uncharted.
came out before that. Yeah, it's Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
Which I kind of want to replay.
I heard it's a great game.
It's fun, but I have a problem with third-person shooters. Like, I grew up playing third-person shooters. They're not terrible, but the more I've played first-person shooters, the more I'm like, third-person shooters are just
clunky.
They're clunky, awkward, and they just don't work as well. Any shooter game, including Tom Clancy games should be first-person.
Are they not?
Most of them aren't.
Well,
or like they
Rainbow Six Siege is, which is a Tom Clancy game.
If there's a way, okay, because every Tom Clancy game I've played, which at this point is 2 games, I know that's not many, but I played Wildlands, which takes place in South America. You're hunting down cartel. That game is very well loved by its community, and you can like it. I personally did not care for it. I really did not care for it, but at the same time, I also didn't really understand how Tom Clancy games worked. So I may enjoy it more now that I've gotten used to them. The one I'm playing now is Point Break. I love that game, and also I hate it so much.
Is it hard, like clunky?
So the gameplay is fun, the story is fun, but then it has that clunkiness of a third-person shooter, and you have so many like toggles essentially that it makes the game kind of stressful. Because it's like, all right, so you're in third person, walking around doing your thing, but you aim down sights of your gun, and now you're in first person, looking through your scope or red dot, or looking down your iron sights. But then you could like toggle by pressing in the joystick. Now you're in third person. I don't want that. I just want first person. I don't care what my character looks like, because here's the thing. They give you all these camo choices to like blend in with your environment. The problem with that is that it's pointless, because the game wasn't designed for enemies to detect you based on your camo. You can literally wear bright white clothing in a field of flower, like in a field of green, and so long as you're prone on the ground, they're not going to see you. It's this weird thing where it's like, we have the technology to make it so enemies can detect you based off of your camouflage.
It's not that hard.
Yeah, it's not hard to do because there's a game called Metal Gear Solid 3 or 4. I can't remember. It's an older Metal Gear game that came out on the PlayStation 2 where it had that technology to where if you're wearing the wrong camo in the wrong area, the enemy could see you more easily. It didn't mean that they were going to see you, but your chances of being spotted were much higher. So this is old technology that should have been put into Point Break for, the fact that they claim to be an immersive game, even though I challenge that.
Yeah.
It is not immersive enough.
Yeah.
Nowhere even close. So it's aggravating in that sense. Not to mention, I'm playing it on PC, and for whatever reason, what is the company that makes these games?
Ubisoft.
I hate Ubisoft
Me
so
too,
much.
especially on computer. Their console games work usually pretty good. Ubisoft PC games.
I have to run the program through a what is it called? Compatibility test thing.
Oh,
So
really?
90% of the time, if I want to play the game, what I'll do first is I'll click on the game to have it launch from the icon, and it will launch the game. But 9 out of 10 times, the game will either freeze, crash, or have a graphic glitch to where I can't see anything, and half the time it results in me either closing the program because it's not working, or restarting my computer because my computer cannot function. And so I'm like, okay, so you want to play that? Fine. So then I'll do my thing and open up Steam. Then I'll right click onto the game. Then I'll go through and find the files for that game on my computer. I'll go down, find the game, find the very particular file that is the game, not just the things that are in the game, and I'll run it through either administrative whatever, or I'll run it through a compatibility test on my computer to see if it will work. I know it will work. It can work. And like the way it works is me running it through that test. And
That's so weird.
Yeah, it'll say problems detected, and it will run it using what it says is Windows 7, even though you're supposed to be running it on Windows 10.
It's just not fixed.
Every other company can make a game that works on PC except for Ubisoft.
And EA.
I'm frustrated just thinking about this because it's like this game would be fantastic if they just put in like any effort at all in making the game work on PC.
Seriously, like it's
so annoying.
They're multi-million-dollar companies. How can they not?
It's not hard.
Figure it out. It's not hard. They make the game on computer. That should be the base thing that works. Like, it makes sense whenever the game's like, oh, this isn't working great on PS4. It's like, oh, yeah, that kind of makes sense because it's a little harder to test it. How do you fail at making it for PC?
That should be the standard.
It should.
Because, like, here's the thing. I grew up on consoles, and I told myself I would never get a PC because you have to blah, 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 whatever. Lame excuses. Now that I'm playing on PC, I don't really see the point in going back.
Yeah, no.
And so it's like, it's weird to me looking at games like Ubisoft, and it's like, how is it that every other company can make a game function on PC except for you guys? And here's the thing. I think the gameplay is a ton of fun. I'd like it if there's a first-person option.
Yeah.
I really want that. Gameplay, story, it's fantastic. It's fun. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of customization. There's this, there's that. There's some details that could be tweaked and changed and make a little more immersive, sure. But overall, I'd say the game is like a 4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah.
But on PC in particular, I'd probably have to rate it 2 stars because if I have to run the game through a compatibility test just for it to work, then you failed at making a PC game.
Yeah. What's so dumb is the same company, Ubisoft, just a different studio in the company, makes Rainbow Six Siege, which is in the same universe of games,
Yes.
the same franchise, and it works perfectly on computer. I don't think it's very well optimized, but it works perfectly fine.
Are you running it? Are you running the Vulkan version or the normal version?
I don't even remember.
So like I've looked. Okay, I spent literal hours trying to figure out how to get this game to run smoothly, and everyone's like saying, "Oh, well, you need to run it through Vulkan. You need to run it through this. You need to have that setting."
Yeah.
Because I don't really know what I'm doing with the computer, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna run it through Vulkan, and I'm gonna change the graphical settings to where it's saying that it can run, and like that's as best as it can do it, and it's still failing to do that, and it's just like. You guys had one job, just make a game that works, and you.
Seriously. But like
I should be able to click on the icon and the game should be able to pop up and load. But here's the thing, that's not even the worst transgression. This is where it gets really stupid.
are you gonna bring up Uplay?
It's related to Uplay.
Okay.
So let's say you want to play the game. Let's say you click on that game. Let's say the game is running. Let's say you don't have internet.
Yep.
You can't play that game.
Nope.
You cannot play their games without internet. Do you need does internet access add anything to the gameplay experience of these games as far as storyline goes?
It shouldn't.
It shouldn't because it doesn't. Unless you are playing multiplayer.
Well, it's like
I have no reason to play multiplayer.
So here's the thing. It seems that way because it should be made that way, but they make things online that should not have to be online.
Like what?
Like I don't know if there's like in-game purchases or anything in it. But if there's like
you can buy credits to buy items, but you don't have to spend money.
Exactly. So they'll make that like to get the skins or whatever that you need, they'll like make it so that you have to connect to your account to verify that you do own those items so they can give it to you, and that's why you can't play it without internet. Like they'll make stupid things that don't logically need internet access require internet access, and then because those things require internet access, they just won't let you play the game without internet access.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
I wish I can talk to like the head of Ubisoft and be like, why? Like, I want a legit reason why, because I feel like this is affecting their sales. Like, sure, someone could argue, what person doesn't have internet access? It's like, there's actually a lot of people that don't have internet access.
Well, I know
people
a lot
that just
of people
don't have reliable internet.
Yeah, exactly. The people without reliable internet. I know so many people that are like, oh, yeah, I'd love to play that game. My computer can run it fine, but it's just that it requires too much like internet stuff, or like it's too big to download.
Yeah, and like
so they just won't get it.
Yeah, that's usually my problem. Is my internet is too
slow.
It's slow, but the biggest problem isn't even that. It's that it's unreliable. It'll just randomly crap out and just be done. And I don't know why it does that.
Yeah.
And I assumed it was like interference from like neighbors' internet or whatever. But it's not even that. So like last night I discovered that my internet was not, like my computer was not connecting to the internet, even though it said that. It is weird. It showed the internet symbol full. So it said I had like full connection, but it also said no connection.
Yeah. So
I didn't know what to do. And so this morning I had the same issue. So it's like, okay, so it's not neighbors interference, because it's weird to have this twice in a row over the course of like 10 hours. So I unplugged the router and replugged it in, and it was fine.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
So when it has the 3 bars but no internet, means that you're connected to your router perfectly fine, but your router is not connecting to the internet. Yeah,
and here's the thing. All right, the internet tower that it's probably connecting to is literally right down the street.
Yeah.
Like I can see it from my house.
Yeah, it's I hate y'all's internet service provider.
I hate how our internet structure is in general in this country, because apparently like Europe, even though they have a much more dense population, they don't have this problem. This is a uniquely American problem. Like even China, who's very dense, they don't have this problem.
Yeah.
This is a uniquely American problem because Joe Biden, I guess you can't really blame him, but
Can't blame him.
you can't really blame him. But he did say that he was going to focus on fixing our infrastructure, and then he proceeded to do absolutely nothing.
Did he even say that?
Yeah, like that was one of his big.
Joe, we lost a bridge.
Yeah, it's like
you failed. That it's definitely not his fault.
But here's the thing: it's not even a joke. It's funny that it's like one of the things that he's campaigning on is that he's gonna like make our infrastructure better and like pour money.
He just didn't do that.
Like he may have upgraded some buildings here and there, but guess what? Those buildings were probably like government buildings to begin with. And so it's like
maybe maybe he did like make some grants or something, but it's like people aren't making use of it. Like there's no,
it's like
they're taking the money and running or something.
We're
like
still running off of technology from like World War II.
Yeah.
Like the way our power lines work, that hasn't changed in over 70 years, to my understanding.
Yeah.
To my understanding,
we can't change it now.
We can. It'll just take a lot of money and time.
Well, exactly.
And Joe has had that time and money. Well, it's like he's just wasted it.
You would have to like legitimately to make our electrical infrastructure better.
Oh, it'd be a nightmare.
And more efficient. You would the entire country would have to lose power for probably 2 weeks. No power for 2 weeks.
Would it be the entire nation all at once, or would it like cycle out? Like,
I mean, I guess you could do areas, but that would be a pain in the butt to set up anyway. Because
like
other than Hawaii, yeah, Alaska and Texas, the entire United States power infrastructure is linked together.
Hold on, what?
Mm-hmm. So the power infrastructure, like we're connected to the exact same power here at my home in Missouri as the same power that's in California. They are linked together as one massive
hold on,
web.
so like, but California has rolling blackouts, and they do that on purpose to like quote unquote be environmentalists or whatever.
They're like they can section themselves off because there are like breakers in between, so it's not like a nationwide power outage. But they are like it is connected together.
But does that mean there's like a central spot where if like let's say somebody did a terrible thing and like attacked it?
I believe so.
What?
I believe this is how this works. I might be wrong, but
because like
that's what I've been told.
Oh, okay.
Except for Texas, who decided that they wanted their own power infrastructure.
I wonder if Texas has a better time with internet. Like out of curiosity, because they did their own thing.
Depends where you live, just like here. If you're in a city, you're gonna get better internet.
Just don't go to Phoenix because it's gonna be like 90,000 degrees.
Hold on, you know where Phoenix is, right?
Wait, sorry, yeah, not Phoenix. Sorry.
Okay, I was like, people are gonna think you're saying
Phoenix does have that problem.
Where is it?
I'm trying to think of like a city that's like it's literally just so much concrete and it's like literally
it's not Austin, but it's the other one that starts with an A. Wait, no, that's Amarillo.
Are you thinking about
that's up north.
Houston?
Or youth? That's the question. Are you thinking about Houston?
I don't know.
Houston is to the south.
I don't even remember anymore. But there's like certain cities in the southwest area where it's like everywhere outside of it is going to be like.
This is El Paso. El Paso is an awful place.
So like, let's say the temperature of the day is like 70s, like upper 70s.
Mm-hmm.
But in the city, it's going to be like 90 degrees because it's like all concrete and no vegetation.
Yeah.
And so it's like, because of how concrete and asphalt works,
it holds heat, and then it's like
heat.
It's a convection oven.
And so so it's like you already live in a place that's like
hot,
pretty hot. Then it's like you cover everything in like concrete and asphalt and tar, and now it's like even hotter because of that. And then they like say, and then like those same people that live there are like, oh, we're experiencing global warming. It's like, no, that's not what's going on. You just
it's very, very local warming.
It's like what you're experiencing isn't global warming. What you're experiencing is living in a hellhole.
Yeah, it's it's a very odd feeling when you get sunburned from like the road.
Yes. Because like I remember experiencing that while we were in Arizona because we went. My
Concrete reflects the sun.
Yeah, my family went and drove. No, I think I was with you guys.
Yeah, probably.
We went through. We did go through Phoenix.
Yes.
And we were only there for like maybe a few hours, and it was miserable.
Mm-hmm.
It was so freaking hot. Like, I can deal with the dry heat in Arizona. That's fine. But
Phoenix is like
Phoenix
you're
is a
being
different story.
baked.
Yeah, Phoenix, you can literally just like cook whatever you want on the road.
Like, okay,
It gets that hot.
you know that like panic that you feel when it's raining outside and you're like, oh, I don't want to get wet. And you're kind of trying to move fast and like, oh, you know.
Yeah, it's like that, but with the summer heat in Phoenix, but you can't escape it until you like, I don't know.
Like you get out of your car and you're like rushing into the nearest building. I don't know. Probably locals are laughing at us.
The AC bill there has to be humongous.
It is.
Oh.
Yeah, and then like every house has a pool.
Then you have to deal with the problem that they have to get all their water like piped into them because like
there's no water there.
It's funny because like that may seem like a confusing thing from someone that lives there, but it's like
your water isn't local.
Yeah, your water isn't local. It's not from underground because there's just nothing there because you live in a desert.
Yeah.
We don't have that problem here in Missouri.
Why do you live there?
You live in a desert. Nothing grows here. Nothing's gonna grow here. Gosh.
Yeah. So we got on such a tangent there, which is awesome. But what I wanted to say about video games was actually a lot more positive than what we ended up with. What I wanted to talk about with video games is that since I've gotten this couch, I keep saying I only paid like 15% of the total cost of this couch. My parents, but since we got this couch.
How much is 15? Is this like 15? Is 15%?
That was free.
Oh, they gave you the pillows for free?
Yeah, all four of the pillows came with the couch.
How much would be 15%?
It was like $300.
You could probably buy like one of the foots off this thing.
No.
Like the wooden block foot. Just take it off. It's yours.
300. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure one seat was $300 or something like that.
Okay.
Or like, no, one seat was like $9.
You're like, this one's mine. This is my 15%.
The total couch was like over $2,300 or something.
That's a used car. A used crappy car.
A really crappy car. Or a really nice couch. But by the way, it only cost that much because we got it like really custom and nice. Like we did not save money on this couch. We got the couch we wanted.
You didn't get a deal, but you got what you wanted.
I feel necessary. We're not like out here balling. My parents are on retirement, and it's the most money they've ever made in their lives. So they know how to live cheaply, and now they have more money, and they're like, we don't even have to work. We can just like chill.
They did pay into it. Wait, is your dad now fully retired, or is he still doing stuff?
He's still doing stuff, but he can't make more than $12,000 a year.
Oh gosh, so he can't make more than $1,000 a month.
Mm-hmm. But we get like $3,000 a month from retirement.
Dude, I know what I'm going to do.
So it's like everything is...
like our generation is continuously told that we're not going to have a retirement fund, which I'm just like, how much is that true? Like, it may be true, or it may just be fear-mongering. I'm hoping it's just fear-mongering. So it's like, if once I get to the point to where I can retire, I'll just make my side cash from my hobbies of like leather work.
Yeah.
It's like, sure, I could make a ton of money off of leather work, or I could just like make a couple wallets, make a couple this, that, whatever, a couple repairs, and like make $800 a month on that, and then just pour it into a different hobby.
Well, here's the cool thing.
'Cause that'd be fun.
That $12,000 limit or whatever it is, or it's like the poverty line. You can't make more than the poverty line, which I think the poverty line is like $20K a year. So maybe it's 20. You can't make $20K a year. I don't
Wait,
remember.
if that's a poverty line, then I'm below it for sure.
No, you're not.
I'm gonna have
Because
to,
if I
I'm gonna have
I
to check
work,
my math.
you make more money than me on my good weeks, and I'm above the poverty line.
Wait, hold on. Let me double check.
If you make more than $2,000 a month, you're above the poverty line.
Let's see.
That's pre-tax, by the way.
Pre-tax. Oh, okay. Here's the thing. I'm always confused by that because it's like they're using numbers that are pre-tax, but I'm only considering what's actually hitting my bank account because.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing that I hate about taxes. They're like, hey, you make this much money per paycheck, and so this is how much you're making hourly.
Mm-hmm.
Reality says, no. You don't actually make that money because the government takes your money away from you.
Yeah.
So what you're actually making is less than what you're being told you make an hour
Mhm.
because tax is a thing.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
that's a whole nother topic. Don't even
taxes,
get into it.
fraud, bada bing, bada boom. All right.
Taxes, fraud.
So-
You're not actually making 15 an hour.
No, you're not. So except for me, because I'm not taxed until the end of the year.
So long as you save money for tax season,
Yes.
it's fine.
But, so I got this couch. It was very nice. And I usually, before we got this couch, I didn't really play video games. Like I would play video games in my office on my computer. Or I would just lay on my couch and watch TikTok or whatever and then go to bed.
Yeah.
And like, if I wasn't doing that, like if it's the daytime, I would find something to work on, you know, I'd edit, I would volunteer somewhere, I would help a friend out, I would go do DoorDash, I would whatever, right? Since we got the couch, I have had like this burning desire to use the couch. Right? Because I walk past it every day and I'm like, oh, it looks so comfy. I want to sit on it and relax. So I've started this thing where at least once a week, I will sit down and I will just play video games until I'm like exhausted.
Jeez.
Which is I usually cut it off around 12:30 at night. And so I get, a good 2.5, 3 hours in a week of playing just console games, which are games that I frankly haven't touched in a long time because I've just been playing computer games. Because every time I'm on computer, my Discord opens up automatically, and then all my friends are like, hey, you should play this game with us. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I guess I'll play Valorant. And it's like, that was like the only game I was playing forever, like Valorant and Fortnite and Lethal Company and just multiplayer games, which are great, but I love my single player experience games.
Yeah.
And so I've been playing Zelda. I've been playing some Stardew Valley. I've been playing a point and click, like choose your own adventure game called, what is it? Yes, Your Grace, I think is what it's called. It's freaking amazing. Also, absolute like gut-wrenching story because it's like a very realistic portrayal of like a medieval like royal family of like a smaller kingdom. And so that there's like one castle and they own the surrounding like valley. That's it. And it's very fantasy, like there's like witches and stuff and whatever, but it's not like high fantasy where there's like goblins or whatever. But there's some other things here and there, and it's super fun. But the story is like terrible. Like the first thing that happens. Skip ahead if you want to play this game and you don't want to story
Just
spoiled.
ruin my story. I'm going to bed.
The first thing that happens is you're like pressured into marrying off your eldest daughter. Like, I mean, this is like week 3 of the game, and it goes by week. Like each like turn is a week or whatever. So by week 3, you're like forced to marry off your daughter, or else you're I think it's so there's this like barbarian tribe that wants to marry your daughter, but and you like promise them that this awful person could have the daughter because like it would like save them from utter annihilation, like 20 years ago or whatever. And now you don't want to follow up the deal because this dude's a literal barbarian who's probably just going to end up killing her like on accident. And so you marry the girl off to this much richer king who has a bigger army.
Yeah.
In exchange for protection from the barbarian tribe. So there's a whole battle, but then it's someone frames your kingdom for like the murder of the person you married your daughter off's father, the current ruling king of that other kingdom.
I don't know why anyone would buy that lie, but okay.
And so the battle's over, the barbarian tribe's out of the picture, and then the son, his dad is dead and is married to your daughter, he becomes king. He's super mad at you because they're only blaming you because it happened in your kingdom at one of your like celebrations. And then so they like turn around, go back to their kingdom and send a letter of like, hey, we're going to come kill you. And then you're like, but my daughter's over there. And they're like, yeah, she's fine, but we're going to kill you. And that's where I'll stop, but it gets even darker. Jeez. And like, as the time when the actually, I'll stop spoiling it because I'm getting further, but it's a freaking stressful game.
Have you played Triangle Strategy?
I have not. I played the demo.
So here's the thing. Triangle Strategy is a game that I wish I liked.
I feel like you've told me that before.
I've spent so many hours into this game.
Yeah.
And the reason why I won't pick it up again is because I just can't bear the boredom of how this game functions. Because
that was my experience with Octopath Traveler, which is the game just before it.
I think Octopath Traveler is better. Not gonna lie.
Okay, Octopath Traveler is very JRPG, and I'm not a fan of JRPGs.
See, I don't mind them. The problem is that when this game was first coming out, they said that, oh, well, you have all these choices, you have different classes and customization and all this other stuff that's going to help you fight in the battlefield. That's a lie.
Yeah.
You don't have that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, the customization is you get to upgrade your current equipment. And your class changes are like minimal to where it's like it doesn't really change the game much at all. To where it's like, oh, great, this guy's slightly different. Ooh.
Yeah.
What's the benefit? They're better. Okay. But the game is still like, it's progressively getting harder. So it's like, yeah, you had to upgrade this character to get better. It doesn't change how the game works. It doesn't change how that companion fights. The way you fight and the way you use certain characters remains the same because for whatever reason, Square Enix just thought, hey, whatever crap we produce, people are going to buy. And guess what?
Yeah.
They're right.
A little bit, yeah.
It's sad because it's like a game that came out like over 20 years ago, Final Fantasy Tactics, which is looking at getting a remake for PC, I believe.
I think I heard about that, yeah.
Which is great. It's a great game. You have so many options. You have options that the game doesn't tell you about.
Mm-hmm.
For like customization. Like there are secret classes where the only way to unlock them, and I think this only came out on the PSP version, but there's certain classes where the only way to unlock them is by fulfilling certain criteria that the game does not tell you about or prompt. So it's like, it's really nuts to where it's like, not only do you have a lot of customization, but you have all this like secret stuff.
Yeah.
With that said, that game also suffered from one thing.
What?
Monks rule the game.
Oh, it's not very balanced. Yeah.
It's not a very balanced game, but granted, this game is over 20 years old.
Yeah.
So there's there's grace for that.
But it's like, it's incredible that a 20-year-old game is better than the games we make now.
Yes, because the game had so much customization. The game had so much good story, and it suffered from a few things here and there, sure, but the game's 20 years old. It still is outperforming games that were made literally a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And it's just, as far as like I'll go back to a game that's 20 years old versus a game that came out 2 years ago that's supposed to be a lot of fun, but I just get bored.
Yeah. It's dumb. I see my problem with Octopath Traveler was, okay, so it was the first game that particular studio made.
Yeah.
And they went with a very bold art style.
Yes.
And it's beautiful. And I love it. And the combat is really fun. The story is super intriguing. It's, I mean, very eye-catching, very entertaining to watch, and the writing is good, and all these things. The voice acting was done pretty well, I feel like. But the thing that got me, the two things that got me were, you have to grind your butt off.
Yeah, for hours and hours. And the fighting is kind of repetitive.
It is really repetitive.
Where it's like
which wouldn't be a problem if you didn't have to grind.
Yeah.
So much. And the grinding is like per character. Yep. So sometimes you have to grind just for one character to level up enough to do their quest. And it's like, this is awful. And there's so much grinding in it. And the music, I think there's a total of 16 tracks for the whole game, which sounds like a lot. But when you take into the realization that there's 8 different characters,
it's what, 2 tracks per person?
That would be 2 tracks per person, but then you got to have songs for other things, right?
Yeah.
So it's like 1 track per character. And then like 5 tracks for like the main things the reoccurring things in the game. So like your battle music, your standard battle music, there's only 1 track for that.
Yeah.
1 track for the whole game.
Yep.
It doesn't change from what area you're in. It doesn't change for the quest that you're doing. It doesn't change for anything. It's 1 type of battle music, and then there's 1 type of boss battle music.
What's funny is that people would say that these complaints are petty because they grew up playing like Final Fantasy, the original one.
Yeah.
That's like, yeah, but that game's like over 20 years old.
Like this is a 2017 game. This should be, or maybe 2018, but still, like it should be better.
It's a newer game.
It should have more songs than an SNES game.
Especially with the price that these games are going for. They're going for like these games
came
are
out
cheap.
$60.
Yeah, we're paying $60 for these games, and yet I feel like we're getting less content than we were in like similar games from 20 years ago that were like unbalanced or had minor issues here and there.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's like we're not even critics, and yet I feel like the critics are failing to point out these problems.
Yeah.
Because, oh, God forbid you say anything bad about major corporation game company. It's like, no, you need to give legit critiques. You need to be like, hey, this is a problem. And then they'll be like, okay, cool.
So like Stardew Valley, right?
Yeah.
It's made by 1 dude. Okay. And he does have a team for the console ports. But like the main content is made by like 1 guy, and he hires some other people to help out with certain stuff every once in a while. But mainly it's just 1 guy. Mm-hmm. And he's been working on it for a while. I think he's been working on it for almost 15 years. Right?
Uh-huh.
I think there's close to a few thousand hours of content in that game. I mean, there's end game content that I haven't even seen, and I've been playing it for years. Like, now, to be fair, I haven't gone very far, but it's like those farming games where like a month takes 10 hours, you usually never see new content past year 3. I mean, heck, some like older Harvest Moon games end
Yeah, yeah.
after a few years. Or if you don't get married in the first year, it just ends.
Yep. Which, here's the thing. I remember playing those games at friends' houses, but I never got those games. And I've been wanting to play them. Like, I have like this small itch in the back of my head where it's like, I want to play this game.
Yeah. So like Stardew Valley there's so much content. It's super well made. I can't think of any particularly big glitches or anything. There's so much that the game like hides from you for you to discover, and it's amazing. Like there's so much content, there's so many different facets to the content. Like there's mining, fishing, farming, animal husbandry. There's so much that you can do, and all of them are so deep, and he keeps updating it, and it's $15.
I may want to look into this.
$15. I get it. It's a passion project. But also, I'm pretty sure that man is making a living off of that one game.
Because of how many people hear of it and buy the game. And
if he had even a team.
Here's the thing. Does he have a GoFundMe? Because I could see people throwing money.
He used to.
Okay. Interesting.
But that was before the game launched. Now, post-launch, he just makes all of his money off. I'm pretty sure he makes all of his money off of that game.
Has he finished the game?
He continues to update it, but it's been launched since I think 2016.
Okay, so
but
the game is finished, but there's updates.
So I think it just got its 6th large update, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do one more small update." This was like 2 years ago. He's like, "I'm gonna do one more small update." He releases. 2 years later, he's like, "Okay, I'm back with the update, the small last update." It's actually massive. I added, I think, 15% more content.
Oh my gosh.
In one update. He was like, so I discovered that players were getting to about year 5 and then stopping because there wasn't any new content. So I added more content. And it's like, dude, year 5 is like, you're reaching 70 hours of gameplay.
Which surprisingly is how much Ubisoft thinks I've put into.
But like,
Breakpoint.
I don't think that's
accurate.
true.
It's not true.
70 hours of gameplay. It sounds like not a lot because there's all these games like Skyrim that like advertise, 150 hours.
Not really. Like but it's like stretch it, but it's not that interesting.
70 hours to get to year 5 is like you're rushing, dude.
What's funny is that I've played so much Skyrim that even I'm like saying Skyrim kind of sucks.
Skyrim does.
Granted, the game is like a decade old.
It is over a decade old. It came out 2011.
Yeah,
but like that game,
I also play it. It's not that great.
Have you seen Starfield?
I've seen Starfield. I have not played it.
It doesn't look great. Like I've heard that it's really, really fun.
Outer Worlds is or was free on.
It's pretty consistently free on Epic Games.
Yeah. That game's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I've heard, I have a coworker that will critique the heck out of it, being like, that game sucks, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, but you're also a weirdo that like enjoys being depressed. So just go away.
But so like Starfield, I've heard is really good. I've heard it's a really good game. It's $70. And it's using the same engine that was made by Bethesda for. I want you to guess what game it was made for. I'm gonna look it up because I want to make sure I'm correct on it.
Knowing how they are, chances are it's either one of the older Fallout games, like Fallout New Vegas, or something like that. Let's say they use the same engine that they used for Oblivion. That's my final answer. Bethesda has this bad habit of just being like, "Oh yeah, we made it better." And it's like, "Oh, did you?" They're like, "Yeah, totally. Look at this thing." And we're like, "It's using the same engine. It's the same thing. Just it's still a turd. It's just polished." They're like, "Yeah, but it's better." It's like, no, it's not. It's not better. You're lazy.
Okay. So the creation engine, which is the engine that they use today,
Yeah.
was made for Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But it is based off of their previous engine.
Yeah.
Which came out in 1997.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it goes from an engine made for let's see, games I've never heard of.
Okay, start naming them.
Hold on. Oh, I don't think these are in release date order. Okay. 2004 game Sid Meier's Pirates.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen that game. It's a point and click adventure.
Is it really?
It's a 2D point and click adventure, I'm pretty sure.
That's very different than most of the Sid Meier games.
Oblivion.
Yeah.
Bully.
Bully.
A lot of Civilization games.
Hold on, Bully?
Fallout 3.
Bully is the same. Okay, Bully's a Rockstar game.
Yeah. Wheel of Fortune for the PS3.
Jesus.
Okay, so this game engine is made in 97. It seems like it was kind of ahead of its time, but it's basically the same engine that they're using today, and it came out in 1997. It's a 27-year-old engine.
We have technology. And Bethesda's
It's
like, yeah, just keep using.
It's like, guys, no, we fixed it. We made a new version, and it's like so much better, and it's modern and whatever. And we're like,
no, throw it away.
Are you sure about that? Because your ragdolls say otherwise.
Exactly, and that's the problem. Is like you can polish a turd all you want, it's still a turd.
Exactly.
So it's like what they need to do is they need to just build a new program or engine.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that takes a lot more work than I'm just saying, oh, just do it.
Well, here's the thing. Nintendo. Now I understand Nintendo's a high standard. That's like saying Toyota for cars. It is legitimately in the software and like coding development department.
Okay.
Nintendo's a powerhouse. They invent technologies for the fun of it.
Kind of. Here's the thing. Star Fox, they didn't come up with it though.
No, I'm pretty sure they invented the technology that made that work.
No.
They weren't the ones who made the game.
Here's the funny thing. I watched a special on this, and here's the thing.
Okay.
Somebody manipulated how their system works. They basically
they broke it, yeah.
They broke it and made a game that ended up becoming Star Fox. They didn't create it. They just was like, "Oh, that's really cool. How did you do that?" And then he explained it to them, and then they used it to make Star Fox.
Yeah.
So they didn't invent it. They just took the idea.
But it's like there's so many like different like gaming technologies, like patents that Nintendo owns.
Yeah.
That it's like, why'd you patent that? And they're like, it was weird, and we invented it, so we patented it. And it's like, what, huh? And it's like Nintendo release, like they do patents in bulk. Like they probably release 60 new patents a year.
I'm like, what?
Code.
Mario's butt cheeks?
Jiggle physics. No, the different like coding stuff, because you can patent code. Like, you can patent systems that are like digital stuff. But you
that sounds like it could easily become a nightmare.
Like Sega owns the patent for having a mini game inside of a loading screen.
How do you patent that?
I don't know, but they did. Uh, so there you can have all kinds of stuff like that. But Nintendo, I mean, they're a powerhouse. Anyway, so it's basically like saying the Toyota of coding, but they made a new engine for Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
They were like, okay, so we want to make a new Zelda game. Okay, let's make a new engine. And they're like, okay, cool, we'll send it to our engine making department. I think it took 2.5 years to not just build an engine, but build an engine with hundreds of tools to make games as fast as possible. You know, Breath of the Wild took, I think, almost 6 years to develop. But 2.5 of that was just building the engine. And the other part was just making the game. That same engine, they were like, hey, we should like test it out on some games, make sure it works good. So they made the HD releases of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker in the same engine. They just plopped those games in the engine. And they're like, yeah, the lighting looks great. This is awesome. It's the same engine as Breath of the Wild. So like that engine, the reason why Breath of the Wild took so long is because they built an engine for it. And they have an entire department for that.
So like, what you're saying is that Nintendo just has the budget to do that, unlike, let's say, Bethesda, who doesn't have the budget to do that.
Well, okay. Let's consider this. Nintendo started work on that engine probably in 2011 or 2012 after the release of Skyward Sword.
It's funny to think about.
So they had all the money from the Wii.
Which is a ton of money.
An absurd amount of money. Thing printed money. So, yeah, they did have the money to do that, but they also have the skills to do that. Like, Nintendo, they have the best of the best, really. Like, they are the top. They, like, people were like, I want to work for a gaming company. Like in the 90s, they were like, I want to work for a gaming company. So they went to work for either Sega or Nintendo.
Yeah.
And the people at Nintendo haven't left, and they're still like geniuses.
See, what's really funny is that you said that you opened up that sentence about how like Nintendo has a certain standard. They are like the best of the best. And then my mind immediately went to, think about Tomodachi Life.
That game was good. There was very little content in it.
Yeah.
But I think that was from one of their newer studios.
It's really funny that like some things that Nintendo like puts their stamp of approval on and is produced, especially if you watch any PBG, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's like it's absolute trash garbage, but they know it's an easy cash grab, so they just release it anyways.
They did a lot of those.
Yeah.
But then there's also games like Animal Crossing New Leaf
that people are still playing.
Where it was a masterpiece, and then like 6 years later, they're like, "What if we made this game better?"
Yeah,
and they get the biggest update, where it was literally so big that they re-released the game for it. They made new box art and sold it with Amiibo, because that was a big sell, is that they had Amiibo support now, which was like whatever. But the coolest part about that is they changed like 25% of the game and made it like so much more convenient. 6 years after the game released, in 2017, after the Switch had launched. Like, Nintendo every once in a while is like, here's a pile of gold. Here you go, fan club. Be happy. We're gonna go sit and make garbage for another year.
It is funny that they do that. Speaking of which, the Nintendo 3DS. I feel like the Nintendo 3DS was literally released just to appease Nintendo fans until they could come up with a better, like, actual console.
Almost, yeah.
Because
the 3DS was...
My 3DS can't hold a charge as long as it used to. And there's spots where, like, my, like, wedding ring or other things were like rubbing against the frame of the 3DS to where it's like it's just raw. And there's games on it. Like I remember getting a game that's now on Eli's 3DS, the old 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Zelda Four Swords or something.
Yeah, Four Swords Adventure.
That game was like released for like literally a hot minute on the
I think it was a
e-store.
month.
Yeah, it's like a month, and I just tripped over it one day looking through the store, and I think it was free.
It was free, yeah.
And so I picked it up, and then like, you can't get that game anymore.
No.
It does not
you
exist.
really can't get that game. Well, you could get it if you paid for it, but it was free for a while.
I don't even know if you can pay for it anymore. I don't think.
Well,
you can
not
get it.
anymore, but
Yeah,
talking like 2017.
yeah. So it's like their thing. Like that's the thing that like ticks off Nintendo fans more than anything is Nintendo will re-release something or come up with some kind of program, and we think it's really cool, and then they'll lose interest and just be like, whatever. And so now it's like this piece of like Nintendo history that you either have you either have it or you just don't have access to it at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
Kind of like, so I also have a game that I've been trying to replay because I remember playing it as a young adult. It was Metal Gear Solid 3, I believe, Snake Eater.
Mm-hmm.
I remember really liking the game. It functions on the 3DS,
Yeah.
but while you're playing it, you obviously know this game was not released for this system. It is released on the PlayStation 2, and the controls do not translate well.
No. Because the PS2 has 2 analog sticks and can actually output to a higher resolution than the 3DS can
Yes.
display.
But here's the thing: even with the new 3DS, it has multiple analog sticks. It has 2.
It
'Cause
does,
you- well, you have
the
that
little
nub.
nub, yeah.
Here's the thing: my 3DS is so old that like the rubber texture of the like the circle pad thing,
Uh-huh.
it's just I could scrape it off with my thumbnail.
Yeah.
It comes off as if it's like a paste almost.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is it doing this?
Yeah. There's definitely a shelf life to 3DSs.
Yeah, my 3DS should not be functioning anymore.
Though I will say my 3DS has, I think, 3,000 hours on it.
My gosh.
It is. I played an absolutely unholy amount of Animal Crossing.
Mostly what I've played on my 3DS was Fire Emblem.
You played a lot of Fire Emblem.
I love Fire Emblem games.
The new ones aren't very good.
They're not as good. I want to like them. There's one that I literally just stopped playing because I just didn't have time for it. And it's the one with Bailiff or whatever.
3 houses?
Yeah, it's 3 houses. I like the concept of it. It's just I like when things get complicated, but there's a level of too much complication.
Yeah.
Eventually I'm going to start playing the game again, but what is it? Fire Emblem Awakening should be considered a Nintendo classic and should be re-released on the Switch.
It should, yeah.
I'm willing to fight and debate somebody over a pool of lava for that because it was so much fun.
Here's the weird thing about the 3DS that I've discovered recently. The 3DS had my favorite games as a child.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I only had a Wii. So it was either a Wii or my 3DS. And we did not really get new games on the Wii very often because they were kind of expensive even back then because it was like 2013.
They're still like coming out anywhere between $20 to $40.
Yeah. It was a little expensive for Wii games. So we didn't get Wii games very often, but 3DS games you could get because those were like $30, $40. And they were like better experiences and stuff. So that was just kind of the things I got. And so the 3DS had my favorite games as a child. Like I remember literally like not being able to sleep at night because I just wanted to play my 3DS games. I'd literally just stare at them on my shelf as like a 9-year-old, just being like, oh, I can't wait to play Animal Crossing tomorrow. or whatever. Or like maybe I'll play, Mario Kart or whatever. But now as I'm getting older, I remember those games. I remember how good they were. No desire to play them. No desire.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Like, I kind of want to go back and see what Animal Crossing New Leaf was like,
because you just don't remember.
because I kind of don't remember why I loved it so much and why I liked it so much better than Animal Crossing New Horizons. I kind of know why I liked it better than New Horizons, because New Horizons had like no content when it released. It had like no furniture and like no upgradability. Like, it was like I got like 2 weeks in and I had like maxed out everything. And it was like, what's the purpose of this? I never got that big into like designing my island. But the Animal Crossing New Leaf I played so much, but I'm scared that I'm gonna play it and I'm gonna go like, yeah, this is fun. I'm gonna go back to Stardew Valley.
That will happen, yeah. Yep.
Like, I feel like Stardew Valley, I understand Stardew Valley and Harvest Moon style games are not the same as Animal Crossing.
Right.
Those are two different genres that are in the same hemisphere, but they're two different genres. But the thing is, I don't think I like the Animal Crossing style life simulator as much as the more gamey, arcadey Harvest Moon style games.
Because in Harvest Moon, it's almost as if you have a responsibility to run a farm. Meanwhile, in Animal Crossing, what is your responsibility?
Fishing, picking fruit, doing whatever city project that you're trying to do.
There seems to be no urgency for it. It's like you don't have to pay bills, because like I think in a lot of those like farming simulators, you have to like pay for certain things. You have to like eat food. You have to take care of your animals. You have to
take care of your
crops.
Yeah.
You have to.
You can run out of money and have problems.
Yeah, and so it's like you're given a legitimate situation where it's like, all right, there are potential problems. There's I have to manage my resources, manage my money.
Yeah.
And so like that's what people are looking for engagement with the player.
Yeah.
That's why farming simulators actually work as a game.
Hmm.
That's why I feel like, okay, I'm going to make a statement that's going to sound maybe sexist or whatever, but I find it that most men will have an interest in a farming simulator like Harvest Moon. Meanwhile, women will lean more towards Animal Crossing. Yeah. And I'm not sure why that is. I really don't. And I don't think it's a lack of responsibility or anything like that, but it's just, for whatever reason, Animal Crossing attracts that audience that are more feminine. Meanwhile, the farming life simulators attract more of a male audience.
Yeah. I will say, I think it's more like women kind of go 50-50 between those games. I know a lot of women who are super feminine or whatever, or even pretty masculine, who love either Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing.
But I don't really know any masculine people that like.
I don't know any men who love Animal Crossing more than than Stardew Valley.
I think that's what I was trying to get to.
Like, I know my brother, Bear, he loved Animal Crossing New Leaf. I know, but his wife loved it a lot more.
Yeah.
And it's like, then Stardew Valley came out. And I'm pretty sure they're both just like, yeah, Stardew Valley's better. And it's like I understand Animal Crossing is like stress-free. You're not managing things. It's not like work, you know? But there's something so relaxing about
completing a task,
about doing work in a video game while you're just like relaxing. Like, you get all the satisfaction. All this satisfaction.
You get a you get an amount of satisfaction from completing a task or a chore
Mm-hmm.
in a game.
And you're not like actually like exerting your energy.
Yeah, because like it's kind of like the same feeling of like, let's say you're dreading having to clean the bathroom, but you know full well once you've cleaned the bathroom, like once you get started, like you say, oh, I'm gonna just clean the sink and then do the rest of it later. You clean the sink, then you're like, okay, I have time to clean the toilet. You clean the toilet, and you're like, I have time to clean the shower. Okay, I clean the shower. I have time to finish cleaning floors or whatever else. And it's like it's all finished and you got done in such a small amount of time compared to what you thought it's going to take, because it's like you got a certain amount of satisfaction from finishing part of the chore that you're like, all right, that gave me enough motivation to move on to the next part of the chore. And then you're like, okay, well, while I'm here and I'm on a roll, I feel satisfied with the job I did on that. I'm going to do this next thing. And I feel like that's like a small part of why those games are successful. Because there's nothing exhilarating about like harvesting crops and selling them, but there's an amount of satisfaction from it.
I mean, I get giddy when my plants are done growing in Stardew Valley. Like, I walk out my house and my plants have grown. I'm like, heck yeah, brother, it's harvest day. I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to spend my money on tomorrow. Like, it's...
I wish the games are more realistic and you're like, all right, I did this thing. I'm going to buy a new truck. Or I'm gonna buy a new rifle to go deer hunting. I wish that was.
Or, you know, it's Stardew Valley. It's Stardew Valley, and it's like I'm gonna buy a new fishing rod, and it's like, oh, dang it, taxes.
There's taxes in that game?
No, there's not taxes, but it'd be funny if there were taxes. I feel like I actually wonder how much more or less fun one of those games would be if there were taxes. Like, if you just automatically lost, like, 10% of your income every day,
gosh,
how much less fun would the game be?
Like, the more details you put into the game, like, so, like, there's this, you want to play a game that's more in the uncanny valley, where it's like,
exactly.
Like, here's some realism, but here's some fantasy, and so it's enjoyable.
It's
but, like,
idealized life.
Yeah, and so, like, once you get to the point to where it's like, oh, this is very real, to where it's like, oh, cool. So you harvested your crops, you sold them, you had to pay taxes, you get back to the farm, and now like 25% of your chickens are dead because the neighbor's dogs got out and killed them.
Like, okay,
so it's like you lost.
Even like Farming Simulator, like the actual game Farming Simulator, I don't even think they have taxes. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they don't even have taxes. And so it's like, even the most realistic Farming Simulator game that's literally just, this is like, literally, I know farmers who play it because they're like,
really funny, actually.
This is like good training for like what I need to do this summer or whatever. You know, because they'll get like a wheel or whatever, and they're like, yeah, this is good practice for my son to learn how to.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, I'm like, it's not that hard to drive in a straight line.
Well, it's, you know, you gotta memorize the patterns and stuff and know how to, you know, do stuff. So it's good, and they also just enjoy it.
Yeah,
because it's a much faster pace.
Right.
So it's all the satisfaction of their life, but shorter. So the farmers love it. I don't think they have taxes in that game. So it's like there are things that games are just like, no, that's just unfun. One of them is taxes. So yeah, that's I think that's the podcast. We just talked about video games the whole time.
Let us know in the comments if you want us to like petition for a tax DLC added onto these games.
Tax mod.
Tax mod.
Imagine playing Lethal Company, right?
Or like even Skyrim, you buy the house that's like thousands of gold coins. It's like, all right, you have to pay a tax to the city now.
You get stopped by a soldier, and you're like, "Stop! You haven't paid your taxes."
Honestly, I feel like the next Skyrim game is gonna have that.
I think there's some like games where trading is a big part of the game.
Yeah,
and they'll have like tariffs and stuff.
Well, it's okay. So
which is kind of similar.
something I've noticed with the Bethesda games, or just pretty much all games in general. But like, let's say you're playing Fallout 4.
Hmm.
There's a lot of debate on that game, but we don't need to get into that.
Mm-hmm.
You have a bunch of crap that you just don't need. Let's say it's like different firearms or different weapons, armor from like enemies you defeated, but you don't need them.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to sell them so you can, buy crafting gear. So what you do is that you go to the trader, you give them your stuff, and they're like, all right, it's worth this much.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Then you take stuff from their inventory as like a trade, and it like it'll like balance out how much they owe you versus you owe them, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can like confirm the trade. That's great. I like that system. I wish more games had that system because it's very quick and easy.
Mm-hmm.
But there's an issue. It's not that big of a deal, but it should be noted. You have this item. Let's say it's a 10mm pistol. I can't remember how much it's worth in the game, but like let's say it's worth 10 caps. Say it's 10 caps. The trader is gonna offer you like 6 or 8 caps. I can't remember, but like they're not gonna offer you like what the game tells you it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna offer you less than that. So it's like, what is it actually worth? Because the item description says it's worth this much. They're
Mm-hmm.
gonna offer. You go to trade it. They're gonna offer you less than that. But then you look into the inventory after you confirm the trade. That same pistol you just sold them, they're now selling for more than what the game said it's worth.
That's interesting.
So it's like it's kind of realistic as far as like what people actually do,
Yeah.
but it's also just like the value system.
I feel like that's unfun.
It's a little unfun,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Like in Lethal Company, you can scan an item and it'll tell you how much it's worth.
yeah.
And I could be wrong, but it either sells for that much or more.
Hmm.
Unless you go before quota is due when the stuff is sold at 100% value. You can actually go earlier and sell it for less, but why would you do that anyway? So like it tells you if you're gonna not make what it's actually worth.
Yeah.
It would be dumb if it was like, oh yeah, this item's worth 27 gold.
There's
and
also
it
like
sells for 25 and you don't meet your quota.
there's also like instances in Fallout and even just Bethesda games in general where it's like there's like an item. It's essentially priceless because it's the only item in the game that is that item.
Oh.
You can't find that item anywhere else. Wherever you found it is the place you get it.
Uh-huh.
That's the only one that's like it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it has its own skin too, where it's like it's the only item that's designed to look like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only item that works the way it does.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like the value on it, it's only worth like 1 coin.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like such a strong thing. But it's like it's not worth anything, even though it's definitely worth something.
It's weird. I wonder if that's developers just being like, "Don't sell this, please don't sell this."
I guess so, but it's just it's really weird because it's like some of the items where it's like, yeah, it's unique and cool, but also I don't use it. So it's like, yeah, unique, cool, useful. That's debatable because at a certain point of the game, it's not a useful item anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, I think that's the podcast.
Yeah.
We can't use any of this.
I don't even know if someone's gonna actually sit through this.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Ta-ta.
later.